Welcome to Creativity TV from Creative Universe. I am Petra and you are so welcome here. We are speaking here about creativity, but then mostly from the perspective of creation. You are standing at the focus point of creation. You are a life artist. And many people that come here are actually also very much spiritual kind of magicians. Maybe you are a sensitive creative, maybe you are a spiritual person, maybe you are an entrepreneur to be. All of that is also within that realm very important here. And I want to welcome you as our friend and introduce the theme of today, and that is 9 lessons from 2020. I think you have, just like I did, um, experienced that this is a special year that is full of challenges in the world, and therefore also within ourselves, how we react to that, how we feel about that, what can we do about it, what does it say about our future, and how can we also prepare ourselves to go to that future with our full capacity and especially with our soul fully present. And I have 9 lessons in 2020 because halfway I just found out that I even took some time out for some self-love episodes, and I was reflecting on what the beginning of 2020 did for me and how I wanted to move forward actually. And I hope I can inspire you with those lessons that actually came from my own experience. And I also will, at the end, I will give also some channeled messages with some card decks that might speak to you as well. I will just be seeing if there are like additional things that are important for my viewers, and I will see what comes out there. So yeah, there we go. Because yeah, I think like as a life artist, you do learn lessons, and you want to move forward having learned those. And also this summer, when I took this time out for some self-love, I really felt that this learning the lessons that had been arising was actually self-love. It was sometimes difficult, but it was loving the self that was the result of learning those lessons. Like confrontational things for me as a person, for my growth. My spiritual growth and my personal growth that we, by the way, always take together here in Creative Universe. It's one journey. One of the aims is to make that journey one journey again. Personal goals of love and relationships on one side, and money and business on the other side, and to make that one, and then having those personal goals integrate again in the spiritual journey, which just means the deeper life journey where your true values and the true meaning of life is fully integrated. And like the true architecture of how creation works is integrated with those personal goals all in one journey. That's one of my heartfelt, I don't know, like after 20 years of development and learning and developing our method and being taught myself by wonderful life teachers. That is really something like a message of my heart, that I want to reintegrate those things that are often so separated. You want to make money, but then, maybe meaning has to have some meaning here as well. So how to integrate that with the money? I'm lost, so how to reintegrate that, because that's a very broad spectrum of like issues that are of course involved with all of that and are social lives, our societies, our jobs, our educational systems. Everything is full of those issues, of course, and it's like a real heartfelt inspiration of mine to bring those together. And yeah, we do that here indeed on the path that we teach. But let's try to get back to the lessons of 2020, and you really want to learn them. And I also saw that learning those lessons, although they were confrontational for me, was actually self-love, because it was love for the self, not for like the ego or the personality on itself, the part of you that is some sort of the willpower that stands up and runs away to those goals or whatever goals you have, but the more integrated, where the personality and ego is integrated in the subsoil of who you are in the bigger sense. That is sort of the self, right? So it was love for that self, and challenging for the ego and personality, willpower that made itself loose from that background and wants to run with it. For that part, it was often quite difficult, but for the self, it was very nourishing and deepening. And I want to say that I came to this place because, you know, we entered 2020 and I came in with a money game that we played for free on social media with our friends, and that was wonderful. And I also did a run for bees where I collected some beautifully gifted money to, thank you by the way again, to to donate that to a bee project where the bees that are so necessary for the growth of our entire nature will be preserved better, right? And there was like this sponsor run, so I was running 5 kilometers. Hey, I did it, and then we had this wonderful gift for the bee project that's close by locally here in Arnhem, the Netherlands, in Europe. So that was all in the beginning of the year, and while that was going on, very quickly this whole ordeal came about in the world about the illness that was going around, and people reacting to that heavily, and then economical problems that people also got very quickly, especially also those entrepreneurs and those spirituals and those artists and those sensitive creatives. They were often quite affected by that very quickly as well. So that came in, and at first I had the idea that that did not really fluctuate that much for me, but then later on I saw that it did actually touch something deeper inside of me, like what is this exactly, and what is my answer to that? More importantly, what is my answer to this situation, and is what I am doing actually a full answer from the full self to that situation in the world, or do I even need to tweak it a tiny little bit more to make it an even better answer to that world situation? And that should then also be a better answer to how my heart felt and how my integrity felt. So that was like a serious question, and I do believe that I reached an answer to that. I tweaked a bit, I deepened a bit, and the money game also transformed in, or the money focus transformed in, like, you know what, I think I should use the word abundance, because it's far greater and bigger and far more attuned to the self, from which everything stems, because the self is related to the source of all and everything. So that's where everything emerges from. That's where creation comes from. So also the creation of all the money that you would ever want. So that was, for instance, one of the tweaks that I did. I was like, no, we need to rephrase to abundance. And money is completely within that. I was already saying that, but somehow I felt that it needed these kinds of tweaks And that was also a representation, of course, from my own process of allowing more of myself to come to the table. Because I felt that 2020 asked for that. It asked for me to come more fully to the table. So, and on that, some sort of 1/3 of the year of 2020, that moment when that money game was actually playing, and also this illness thing going over the world was coming out. By the way, I don't say the word, the word, because I don't know the uh, how the social media will react to it. Maybe good or bad, I'm not sure yet. Maybe I will find that out soon. So there was actually another third thing that came to play out for me in that 1/3 of the year in, and that was I personally came into the new state of being for me, because I just came into it, of what we call harmonious union. I had been working towards that for some years prior, consciously, and of course that was all already going on since 20 years, because that's when I sort of officially started to to prepare to be a spiritual teacher. But more about spiritual teacher later on in the lesson. So that came about. I came into this state of being, harmonious union, and that is a state of being where I will undoubtedly speak more about this soon, where you sort of are clicked in with the source of all in such a way that you're always close. You're close to the source of all, aka God, or however you want to call it. Let's not fight about semantics, because it's all the same. There's one source. And also your ultimate co-creational partner, or your true twin flame. And this constellation, let's say with 3, then you're sort of with 3, right? There's so much to say about this, but let me sort of try to summarize this. That constellation of 3 then gets into a sort of clicked inness that is definitively different than before. And I would call that a state of being. There is another state of being that I'm in that I also teach, but this was the one that I came into at 1/3 of the year of 2020. And this also gave rise to an enormous deepening and a learning of lessons for me, because that's like quite naturally what happens, right? When you feel different, when your heart is in a different place, when your soul is clicked in another way, there's something changed, right? Something changed. So there were lessons to take in, there were feelings to process, and there were consequences here and there. There were also small tweaks. So I went through all that as well. And all of that came sort of to a height in this summer, where I took some time off for self-love, and we are going to do the self-love game soon, and you can participate. So that I thought that was also a wonderful preparation for you, for me to become more full in the self-love thing that we will share, in the self-love game for free on social media real soon. You can already say that you want to participate, so please let me know and I will take you in. You can also go to the website, and there you can just leave your name and your email address, and you're in, and I would love to see you there. So in this summer that all came to a height, and at a certain point I just felt like I wanted to also try to bring my lessons compact to one thing, and that became those 9 lessons. Well, that was a long introduction, but I think it is deserved, because I didn't show my face for some time as well, so here we go. I also got back, actually, you could say, because I had been working for several years on a worldwide scale and in worldwide schools. In fact, so I went back, you could say, to English for all my social media. However, you could still speak to me in Dutch, that would be fine. because I am Dutch, and yeah, and that also proved wonderfully working because many of my English-speaking friends came back, so very welcome for you as well. The 9 lessons brought by 2020, making up the state of affairs halfway. Are you a sensitive creative or a spiritual entrepreneur to be? These 2020 life and work lessons will speak to you. And the first is, having an intuitive sense of what your mission is can transform to become your work. That proves true, however strange it may sound at first. Yeah, many people have an intuitive sense, of what their mission in life is. And we're very intuitive people, and you know that. And you can take that, try to give some words to it, and it may sound strange, or it may sound impractical or something. It may sound, nobody will understand this, but you can take it seriously. Well, that's like the first half of this lesson. You can take it seriously because it eventually will prove true. And this is important because there's so many people with wonderful missions that they feel in their heart, and the world asks for that, especially moving forward from 2020, that you out them, that you give them to the people, and because we're looking for new solutions for so many things, for economical problems, for health issues, for social development, for business development, and we need you. Also, when it apparently seems to sound odd. So, and there's like a personal touch to it, because I also went back in one of the first days of 2020 to how I pronounced my mission in 2011. That's like almost a decade ago, like 9 years ago. Like the 9 number is always wonderful here because we do a lot with 9, of 9 energy points in the healing system anyway. 9 lessons, 9 years ago. 9 years ago! Then I just pronounced my mission first time in a fresh way, in a new way, in a trying to be an entrepreneur and with a mission and with a personal and spiritual goal while still being the rest of what I was as well. And I was like speaking about that in a fresh way, in a fresh wave going out. And I was from that time on trying that out. And the point is that it sounded strange to people. There's like, for instance, there were a couple of speakerships for like video programs, video TV programs, things on TV, and events as well. I was a guest at events, and like the experience was that it sounded strange. Well, not to me, but to the other people. But I truly believed that that was at that point how I needed to pronounce my mission. And however much can be said about how I could learn to pronounce it in a more understandable way. On the other hand, I can only say that having this intuition, trying to give words to it, and keep on following that line, even for 9 years, and then it proves true. It proves true. So don't be discouraged. Trust yourself. Trust your heart. That's, I guess, what it says. Trust your heart. Trust your mission that lies inside of you. I said back then things like, I'm all for like a sexual approach of life. And what I actually meant was that you are really feeling wise in life and in daily life and with yourself, so that you can orient yourself in a way that includes sensitive feeling, which is sexual in nature, not sexual in sexual acts, but in a broader sense. That's what I meant. And going at life with this mentality is actually a spiritual way of doing it. So that's what I meant. Then I added to that I want to approach life in a sexual way, and I want to approach in life in a money way, because I believe in your own value, in the value that you truthfully have, that is inherent inside of you. And I later tried to specify that for individuals with creative identity. Was how I was giving words to what that is for a person. It's value that you have. And your value is, of course, in the physical world translated, it's money that belongs together. And that was another part of what I stood for. And then I also said there are three things. Oh, there's the three thing again, right? I said, and I stand for God. For that, the source of all, or God, just encompasses that. And that people should, take that source, where they come from, into consideration while being in a daily life and approaching that in a sensual, sensitive, sexual way. And feeling your value also as a result of that. And being with that value in such a way that you also understand that you're going to now translate that into money, and that relates to your value, and that it's a beautiful whole. So I said, sex, God, and money. Sex, God, and money, that's where I stand for. And because I was a poet, like I almost want to say in a former life, I'm a published author and nationally acknowledged literary writer, in fact, I also always came up with these wonderful terms, right? And it's like 3 words. But people didn't understand it, that did not even always dawn on me. And these are lessons, of course. And at the same time, trust your heart. Trust your heart that what you are meaning is truth. It is valuable. And you will take that with you however long. Maybe it takes you 9 years before it clicks in fully. And that's the second part of this first lesson that I wanted to speak about. And that is that it will click in fully. And it will click in fully, but then really fully, when you indeed also come into harmonious union. That is a little further on the spiritual path, but I promise you that it comes. For me it came, for a student of mine that's now working with us in Creative Universe. It came. So for you it can come as well. And I desire that for you. That is when such a thing clicks in fully, and it stabilizes it, and it makes clear all those aspects. The communication about it, how you can do that better and stuff, tweak that, make it better and better, but then you really know what that should be. The truth of it, that it's really, really true. There's nothing that can take it away from you anymore, because this is so true. I mean, it cannot be more true. It's just true on the spiritual level, it's true on the emotional level, it's true on the physical level, it's true on the mental plane. And it cannot be more true. It's energetically true. It's wisdom-wise true. So, that clicks in there. For some people, they just fantasize a mission before they're at harmonious union, and then the difference can be quite big when you come into harmonious union, and then it seems different or something. And that can also be great because then you just learn, you just learn who you truly are. But many of us have an intuition. We can take that seriously. And later on, it clicks in fully, and it proves true. When you, just like me, in those 9 years, I tested it out so many times in my own coaching practice, in the worldwide school where I worked for around 2 years as well. Well, on many occasions, however, still small. And that, of course, contributes to this whole process of making it come true. Well, that was a lot for one. I hope there's something left for number 2. So take yourself seriously, guys. You have something to offer. 2. Quitting codependency and stopping projections is a fast track to making that come true. Well, there you go. Quitting the codependency with the idea that other people don't understand you and that therefore you are wrong and you should give up your mission and do what they say, although it doesn't click in with you. You are important. You need to remain your integrity. That's where your value lies. There's no value when you are away from your integrity. And there's no value when you cannot really ask money as well. Because, well, it will be very difficult, especially when you're this spiritual, sensitive, creative entrepreneur, to be that is like coaching and maybe a speaker or writer. Advisor, knowledge worker, healer. So you can quit that codependency. And the sooner you do that, the better, because now you made yourself free to be that and to do that. Codependency can go very deep. It's very deeply seated because many of us have not known a lot of other things when we look at the relationships that we had since we were babies and grew up, because we come from families that have not been free of codependency, right? So to go short in that one. So yeah, like people pleasing is codependency, changing your whole mission because people don't understand it is codependency. There are so many things that are codependency. It just means that you somehow, well, you believe that you're not wholly into the light of source, but that you depend on something else than that. Well, that is your only source of sane dependency. And then you can come to light, you can grow like a plant and bear fruit when you're in the light. And there was also unstopping projections. Yeah, that has to do with that codependency, because a lot of times we have this mission in our hearts and it feels good to us and we want to share it, like we feel now in 2020. After the middle of it, we're already in the second half of it, and now you're feeling like, yeah, I feel something in my heart. I want to do this thing to help the people moving forward and help the earth moving forward, but I have to do what other people expect from me, what other people project onto me, and that is not working for you, and it's not working for your relationships and for the world, because we need you, and we need you entirely, and not for what I believe that you are. Then you can just correct me and say, well, that sounds good or not so good, but actually I am this thing and here it comes, So sometimes we also get into a certain role because it is projected onto us. And sometimes it even looks like you don't really not even know anything else or something. It can also be, for instance, a victimhood, that you're in a victimhood because people have projected onto you that you need pity because you have not so much money yet, or something, or you don't have the ultimate lover relationship, the true twin flame in harmonious union yet. Well, most of the time people will say you're not married yet, and then there is a pity projected, for instance, and that just makes no sense, and it stalls your development in every way possible when you fall for those kinds of things. And there can be many, like even hidden things that are, well, yeah, projected onto you, but also that is hidden to yourself, that you may have accepted those projections, those images. And yeah, like the invitation is to let them go, and that it's safe to do so. It's safe to let that go and let, the light of life show you what the image is that you are apparently in this moment. And I guarantee you that there is a red thread through it, the red thread, that goes through it, and that is your creative identity blueprint that will be in everything that you are and do when you truthfully standing on your own self, right? So don't be scared that there won't be any continuity. There will. Then we get to number 3, and that is doing the inner self work gives you the state of being that brings ultimate clarity and sustenance. Yes, so like how do you get then to that places that I'm talking about? How do you get there? How do you get through those images that are not you? How do you let them go? How do you get to this full clarity of your mission? First you have an intuition of your mission, and later on it becomes fully clicked in, and it cannot be more clear that this is your mission, and it's really starting to go off on such a powerful yet soft path that it's like unstoppable. How do you get there? Well, by doing the inner work. What is the inner work? Well, the inner work is feeling your feelings, your thoughts and emotions in that as well. Feeling everything that you can feel, and really, really feel it. Really, really feel it. Until it does something to you. And when it does something to you, accept that, let it reverberate into you. You can do that right now. You can close your eyes if you want to. And just feel around in that space of your heart. Feel that there are like clouds of this feeling and like sand hills of that feeling. Like rains of this thought and like thunders of that emotion. And just, be aware of them. That's where it starts. And take a deep breath. You see, that's different already. And you can do more of that. I have opened our Feel Everything There Is to Feel and Transform That tool that consists of 4 steps and it's called Key. I've opened it on all my social media now. And you can just go there and see it. It's like in my stories, in the stories that are highlights on mobile, Facebook, and on Instagram. It is in the book 9 entrances that you can order on Amazon via my website. It is in video explained in the community on Facebook that we have, and it's called Your Abundance. Go to Facebook, come to our community, Your Abundance, press I want to join, I will click you in, and you will find that as a pinned post, the video that explains it all. That's key. That's the tool that will bring you through this in a more extensive way, yet actually still very easy and short. It's one of the shortest tools that we have. And at the same time, the most effective and like the only thing you really need. And you can use any time and very regularly. So how do you go there? By feeling all your feelings. Use key. For instance, there's a lot more, but you can use key. Right? If you want to have like personal experience with that, well, let's do that, man. Let's go to the self-love game for free on social media. You can join. Put it in the description in the reaction box, and I will take you in, or go to my website and leave your name and email address there, and you can participate. So that's when we're also going to go into that course. Like, how do you go there? So number 4, living from deeper states of being means to place being before doing. Yeah, that's true. Oh man, and that last 9 years, well, much longer than that. Let's focus on that one. For me, my personal lesson was this, how do I combine being and doing? Because I was very, very aware of this being state that was so tangible in me. Maybe for me it was very natural, for some other people maybe less, but you can learn to experience that. And I also was a very action and doing oriented person, but that was some sort of not connected or something. That was my greatest struggle of the majority of my adult life. I'm 40 now. Yeah. These need to be connected, not separated. It's like what I said in the very beginning, like the ego, personality, willpower. It's like the action kind of thing, more or less, and then the self, that is more the broader sense of who you are in an energetic and soul sense and in a true sense. That is more like the being, right? So how do you connect the two? How do you make them touch each other? How do you resolve that separation? How do you bring action and being together and make it not, well, there I'm being there, and then I'm doing action, and I'm all there, and I have no idea what being is anymore. I forgot it. I have no idea, and I'm into 1,000 problems. Right? Oh my God. Yeah. So, how to connect them? That was always one of my biggest problems, people. Maybe yours too. So, well, what I apparently stated was place being before doing. Yeah, maybe you could say, like, let the doing arise from the being, and don't like lose the being while doing. Man, that's an art. That's a life art. You're a life artist, so you can learn that. Yeah. Place being before doing. Yeah, I think I said before because it really makes sense. It is so spiritually logic and so rational, in fact, to first in life, or in a project, or in a certain scope of things that you want to reach or do or whatever, to first work on the being, to first be, to first feel good, to first feel steady, and only then start all the things that are needed to be done. First make yourself full of self-love until you are in harmonious union, as far as I'm concerned. And then start a relationship of your dreams. And that will be the relationship of your dreams, because that it cannot be more perfect. And I don't say that lightly at all. And I don't know. This is such a vast topic in itself. I just get distracted by it. First, understand on the being level what that is, and then start that relationship within the harmonious union, clicked inness. Anyway, yeah, I'm trying to say it's first do the being. Yeah, first do the being. First resolve the beingness of your mission. Feel it out. You can make notes while you're doing that as well. Be it, and then do the action, and then say, okay, I feel this project growing in my heart because of my beingness, and now I can invite 3 friends on an afternoon, and we have an event, and I can speak about my mission, and we can do a small thing that has to do with my mission. Well, I mean, there's your entrepreneurship already. Cannot be more easy when you let it come from the being, because you really feel it then already. It's already here. So that's also effortless. It comes out of the heart. It's effortless. It's not something that you try to collect together and then drag those people into your event. Or you manipulate them into your event. Or whatever. Being before doing. That's how Source creates. So be a vessel for that. 5. So now 4 is really like, yeah, so did I resolve that this summer fully? Like my long-term problem. How do I connect my being with my doing? But then fully and effortlessly, and automatically, and blessedly. Well, that will resolve the summer, that's true. Yeah, it was one of the blessings that came from the harmonious union state of being that I came into. Yeah, and actually with like the help of everything that I did in early 2020 to get some coaching in business and to have a full-blown test in business that was serious and fully in the works and real life already at the same time. It was some sort of a new wave, to come with the money game that we did. And how that went really helped me also with this lesson this summer to fine-tune what that was that I felt, how that came through in that money game. And I took that with me in the summer in my lessons. Yeah, so yeah, I made that fully rounded, like face the being before the doing. So now we are at 5. When you do as if your inner qualities are not there, you end up looking arrogant. That was another thing that I really took home from the early 2020 business things that I did, and how that later on reverberated in my heart when I looked at how it went with people, my friends and clients. And I had seen that I had tried to do it in such a way that I wanted to make it easy, accessible for people. Um, so I actually went pretty far into, well, what I said earlier, the thing like, oh, they may not understand it, so I just sort of go on my knees on their level, so to speak, and I say some things that might be understandable for them. And that partly worked, but then later on I felt in my overall reflection and tweaking and learning my lessons, my 9 lessons in 2020 in the summer, that it had not worked because it felt wrong in my heart, and then it remains a struggle bus, and I cannot really. I'm more close to the people I can help than what I would like. So, and then I got this insight that was actually arrogance, and that not assuming the full role that you have, and not assuming the full responsibility to bring your actual message, and the respect for other people, that you know that you speak to the ears that hear, and that those ears do exist within those people, whoever they are. Or there come other people that do have those ears already open, or you just have spoken it into a person that will not really answer that right now, but it's arrogance to do as if they don't have that ear. Everyone is having the same soul architecture as a human being. So it felt really arrogant that I had done that. So I wanted to take that back and, in a sense, then also be more generous. And you could say risk not being understood again, and that could be, we'll see. But the point is that I experienced that I had attracted the right people. I had attracted you. And now, maybe for this period, maybe for the long run, maybe just because of the sort of people that I attract, maybe because of those life artists, magicians, sensitive creatives, and spiritual people that are going to be entrepreneurs, they are a little bit shy. They don't really move to the foreground as of yet, or out of personality, or out of soulfulness, or not used to habits, or whatever. It doesn't matter. So they were not always visible, is what I was trying to say. But I did meet them. They did come to me. You came to me behind the scenes. You came to me in multiple ways, but not always in front of everybody, just like that. And I did attract the people that could hear. So I actually came to know that I was confident in that sense, because I just felt good about you, I felt good about you, about those people. I felt good about that relationship, although it isn't blood in your face or on the Facebook open area or whatever. So I saw that it could be heard, and it was heard. So I felt arrogant that I had been trying to do as if I had to speak to people that did not understand, and I'm sorry. But I learned. God, I learned, man. I'm, it's a little bit odd that I have to laugh about it because it makes me feel a little bit silly. You know, and then I also became more aware of the aspect like, but when you are, like me, called by source, that was in like November or October 2019, like 9 months ago, I was truthfully called forth by source to start speaking exactly with everything that I have and own and have written and made through and methodology that we created with myself and my soul and my mission, that it was, like arrogant not to give you that fullness, understood or not. That didn't feel right as well. Because it's for so many of you, like light workers that want to be more professional. It's for artists that want to become finer attuned so that they can coach what their actual creation power also is, just besides their artistry, which remain perfect respect as well. People like that, and they're like worldwide, and I feel that, and I feel them, and they come to me, and they have come to me even more later in this wonderfully challenging year. You have been coming to me in more and more numbers, and from more and more places in the world. So that is really not necessary to be arrogant and say, let me hide and let me bend my knees and do as if you don't understand it, so I will make my message more easy, or something strange like that. You get in so many, you bend yourself in so many strange curves. I mean, there's no end to the complexity of all the blah, then. I mean, let's just stop that. So, and that also gave rise to the idea that, yes, I have not as such said this before, but I'm in fact a spiritual teacher. Every topic that I discuss and that I have discussed in the past, be it money, sexuality, healing, writing, poetry, theater, art, creativity, business, cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin. All these topics I speak about from the spiritual teacher point of view. So, that's what I learned would solve the issue also very much. So I accepted that, and also to be able to call it that. It will make me less arrogant because now there's a one-on-one, truthful coming together of what I am and what that word is and what it really is to people. That's where it comes together. So there we go. You will only look arrogant if you don't give everything. And I had to learn that. I mean, it's wonderful that you don't know so many details and tweaks, and yet, I mean, how else are you going to learn the value of life? So that's also for you, if you're like, oh, I have that too, oh my God. Well, congratulations, because now you're becoming aware of so many details of life that add value and meaning, and that is what you came for. You came to attract and experience that value and that meaning so that you can enhance your mission with that you're going to spread around the world from 2020 onward. As one of the original magicians that is a live artist, we'll get you there. Anyway. 6. You can be your true self in marketing and attract your tribe that way. Well, that doesn't need so much explanation, I believe, because I think I pretty much said it all. You know, when you are your true self in marketing, you can attract your tribe. And only then you can attract the true tribe, because otherwise you get people that don't fully click with you as well. And that's only a source of frustration for the both of you. So, yeah. And I believe there's so much, fuss about marketing, like the internet is full of marketing and how you should do it, and there are 1,000 ideas about it. But to simplify that in a way in which you say, well, at least I am me, and I don't need to be anybody else. Let's keep it simple for a change, and let's feel into that one. It will steer the rest of your marketing abilities in a much more rewarding waters. 7. Opening up your true self to the world makes for better results in all areas. Well, I agree with that, because I just was feeling so much better and better over the whole summer when I got these lessons for myself clear. And I also felt that I was going to talk about it. Well, that's what we do now. Here we are. Of course, because the better world starts with yourself, and it starts in my household. I did a lot of things in my household to make it better, to make it nicer, to make it, fully me. And it doesn't need to cost anything. You just need to be able to grant yourself the freedom and the space of heart to guide yourself for a little bit, to guide yourself through some weeks in which you have more time to meditate, more time to cook, more time to make walks, much more time to sleep. Guide yourself through those couple of weeks or something. More time to write every day in your diary what's going on. And guide yourself through some episodes. Well, that's like a home retreat that you can give yourself. If it's 2020, you're at home and you don't know what to do, well, do that. Allow yourself that. It doesn't cost anything. Well, your regular costs, that's for sure. But you can also perhaps pay that later on. When those weeks are over and you need to say sorry to someone, then you do that. Also do that after those weeks. If you then need to make some more money to sort of financially catch up, that could very well work out, man. Don't make such a problem about that. It starts with you. It starts with you, with how you feel. Everything. Also that. I guarantee you that. And that's not something that I just make up. You know, you feel, you experience, you have life experience. And so, all areas. Yes, let's go to 8. Projects that failed before fall into a perfect peace when you go to your deeper states of being first. Well, that's also like an enhancement of all the other things that we talked about, I believe, right? So, because let's say, again, those last 9 years of myself, for instance, I had Creative City, I had a talk show that was a live theater show, and I wanted to make like a series of that. I had Creative City, in which there were a couple of workshops and ideas, and I need to set up an online shop for sustainable, creative, and useful products. And, well, anyway, and I tried to fund a couple of projects and to fund like a festival for cryptocurrency idea generation, inventions, and add like artists with it to generate ideas and projects and stimulate things. Wonderful. I spoke about that on like international congresses in Amsterdam, and it's an American event. And anyway, I was awarded for that, second place of the best project. I tried to fundraise for that. You know, there were so many things that I tried that did not really make it through the first episode or something, right? These are some examples of that. And this took an incredible amount of energy and money of myself, out of my own pocket. And you could say, well, that's a waste. That's crazy. But you know what? Those projects have been such a wonderful learning school, and I can see and I can feel now so much better the integrity of the value that they have within my spiritual universe, right? And who knows, they can fall into the right place in the future, because that's what I mean. Projects failed before fall into a perfect place and perfect peace. I experienced a perfect peace because now I fully accept and understand that everything was always, in the first place, spiritual, in the first place, a beingness, right? An energy. Fall into perfect peace when you go to the deeper states of being first. Yeah, that again, it refers to that you want to go to harmonious union. For instance, one of the states of being that we teach here on the path, right? It's like the emerald path. The emerald itinerary tells you how to move on the ultimate pleasure path to perfection. That's what we teach here anyway. So, deeper states of being, yeah, they are further on the path. You have like the golden flow state of being and the harmonious union state of being. Most people experience them as being further on the path. But when you, for instance, when you do any inner work, it gets easier and easier and things fall into place better and better. So just start with your first key and start with your first little bit of inner work. Every inner work, every key is one. Just start and do it. But when you, for instance, because it's a very, very strong one, right, such a state of being, when you arrive there, things do fall into place in a new way. Just like your mission just gravitates to this place of fully solidified. Those projects that may have been a wonderful dress rehearsal, and you don't regret that you did it, because now you've seen all sides of it. Now you come into its effortless phase. The best things of those failed so-called projects before will just find their way to what you are eventually meant to do, effortlessly. And you'll have eternal pleasure from it, while seeing other people thrive from it. Well, that's the whole idea, right? 9. Building a peaceful world comes from your soul identity, your creative ID. I think that's a wonderful conclusion. Yeah, that's the lesson. I mean, like, I truly, truly understood also from being in harmonious union, which reveals a big deal of a big part of who you truly are, that brings it into a new light, a definitive light. I think I always still felt a little bit like, yeah, maybe there's something a little bit wrong about me, or I'm like such a nerd actually. How do I accept that? Things like that, I just feel a little bit shy. I do feel shy a lot. What to do? But my creative identity is being the person that transforms and manifests and makes people transform and manifest. Makes people stand there on the focus point of creation where they will transform and then manifest who they truthfully are. Yeah, that does create people that are in their integrity. That's what I stand for. So that's what I produce, and that's what we bring forth. That's what I stand for. That's what I do from my creative identity. When you find what it is for you, you will also only bring forth things and people and students that are in integrity also. So, yeah, I advise that. I loved this summer my student. She came into Harmonious Union too. Yeah, it was a whole meta learning curve how I should guide other people into that as well. As a spiritual teacher, you have that kind of things, like extras. Extra learning curve with all these things that you guide. How do you need to guide them as a teacher? But anyway, that happened as well. And I say that because now I can also see in her that what that is in her, how she moves forward in the integrity, in the form how it comes after Harmonious Union, which is a specific thing. It is just wonderful to see and witness. I really love that we work together now in Creative Universe. When you go to the website, you see at the offer that we have together. A little bit of an offer is full. So those were the lessons. And I was going to do cards. Let's start with a card because maybe there is a lesson that is important for you that I did not speak about yet. So let's see what that is. I shuffled the cards and there we go. This is the card from my own creation deck. It's called Manifestation Cards for Entrepreneurs. And you see some sort of pyramid and a ball, and then above it is Dutch. It says word. So, and the text is to go from the experience to the story. It's a story builder, a language builder card. We still have the card. So we go from the experience to the story. I think like the stories are very important. Yeah, don't underestimate the power of stories for yourself. There are true wise stories inside of you as well. The story of how you came to true wisdom and lessons and life lessons and soul lessons yourself. That's what you can share, and well, there is your mission already. You can share what is your lesson of 2020, of everything that you experienced thus far in this challenging year. What is your biggest lesson? Share about that in a video, and there you go, your mission is already starting. So that's your truthful story, and the words that are hovering above the pyramid is the wisdom words, because the pyramid is a symbol for inner abundance, for inner work, or inner wisdom, because that is where the initiation takes place. It is a symbol for that in every way possible. And then above the pyramid is the ball, the circle, how do you say that? You can see it, you understand it. And that is a symbol for the self, for the sun, for the soul. 3 times an S. So, the place of the initiation is the school, and that's what we're going to build from now forward. That's why I make a long video, because this is all going to lead to building of the school, of the inner order, which is synonymous of the pyramid. And what you learn there is the attunement to the sun or the soul for the self, where that wisdom comes into focus, and then you speak your word. You speak your word, your story. What's your truthful life story, lesson that you learned from this year? And it's important. We want to hear it. So please come with it. And we have the Enduring Virtue Life Purpose deck, and the card from that one is, well, apparently I shuffled them before such a deck, and I placed them upside down on my desk, and now I just picked the one that is on top, because that's how it felt that I should do it. Intuitively, of course, but I'm a source medium, so usually it brings something that is wonderfully in tune with everything. So here we go. It says, it's a Dutch card, an angel, and a dog, and a horse, a unicorn, and it says letting go. So, and what comes to mind for me is not the text underneath when you're Dutch, let it go. Just what I feel with it is letting go. Yeah, you are going to let go of so many past things that are not necessary anymore moving forward from 2020, and that's the whole idea of it. And you're really urged to do this because it's not for nothing. Like holistic is seen from a universal perspective, it's not for nothing that this year is how it is, and you're really invited to let go of what's no longer needed, and then move forward with your mission. But what I wanted to say about letting go is, first you have to love as you let go. So don't kick it out, but love it. When you've loved it fully, it will just flow out. And that's the most peaceful way of treating the letting go idea. That is, I think, very relevant at the end of this video. And then a wonderfully relevant card. It says Gaia, and that is, of course, the earth. The earth and the nature, Mother Nature, with wonderful trees and sun, but it's really the Mother Nature card of the Mary Magdalene deck of Tony Carmen Salerno. Wonderful. I mean, that is just so relevant. We do it for the earth, people. The earth is calling for our attention in many ways, and you know that. In a health way, in a social way, in an economic way, like the problems are all there, right? So, how to solve that? There will come more content from me about that. But this is the true motivation to do that, to hear that calling from Mother Nature. That's why you learn those lessons. You feel more self-love, and you start your mission. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you for listening to the entire end. That was amazing. That was amazing that you did that. And I hope to see you soon. Let me know under the video what your lesson of 2020 was. There still is. Let's connect over that and see you real soon. Self-love game, next video, or all the other free social media experiences that we have. Bye.